Hey guys, this is Ryan. In this video, I'm going to be going over how to talk forever and never run out of things to say. This is something that I've never been really good at, so I'm just approaching this as someone who's learned a couple things over the past couple years and sharing that with you guys. I've always been extremely introverted, but over the past couple years of meeting new people, a lot of my new friends will say that they're surprised whenever I tell them that I'm introverted. So I want to share a couple key things to remember when it comes to meeting new people. But beyond that, just learning this skill of being able to talk forever is going to help you with other aspects of your life. And hopefully I can demonstrate too that I'm going to do this video in one cut and just fully improv and demonstrate some of these principles as I go. So the first one to keep in mind is to lower the bar for success. A lot of smart people, intelligent people, overthink the things that they want to say in the first place. So they put all these boundaries on what they can say, and that locks them up, and they don't end up saying anything. But when it comes to vibing with new people or just people in general, if you take a look at maybe some of the coolest kids that you know in high school or college or at work or at a bar, listen in on some of their conversations, and you'll find that a lot of the times the content of what they're saying is really not that complex. There's not anything deep that they're saying, and most of the time it's nonsensical. So as a smart dude, what you got to do is lessen that control over what you say and become a little bit more nonsensical. The other thing is non-judgment. So the way that you allow yourself to be more nonsensical and ridiculous is to not judge yourself. Just like I've done already a couple times in this video, I've fumbled a little bit over my words, but as long as you keep going, people forget that. If you don't put the focus on the fact that you just messed up, then within a couple minutes, people don't even remember that you messed up in the first place. All people make their decisions based off of emotion that they're feeling in the moment. So as long as you keep plowing through and build that momentum, eventually that person's gonna begin to like you and trust you. And honestly, it's trustworthy when you mess up in the first place. You don't want to portray being someone who's perfect, because when you're under this control and you're tight and you're controlled about the words that you say and you don't say and you're not messing up, then people feel that way as well, and they're less likely to open up themselves. So the more you open up, the more silly you are, the more silly the people are going to be in your vicinity. The second one is going to be to continue stepping. So every single step, every single word that you say opens up more opportunity for additional threads of conversation that you can build off of. And what I mean by this is there's going to be all these points where you just want to freeze up and say nothing, but you don't need to worry about like an entire conversation down the road. All you got to worry about is the next word. And a lot of times you can get that next word simply by taking a leap and looking around your environment and just pointing something out and then letting the next word follow after that. So I look around my environment right now, I see a cup because I was drinking some tea this morning because I love tea. I changed from coffee because coffee makes me a little bit more anxious in the morning, but tea seems to have a little bit less caffeine in it, and I'm guessing it's a lot healthier than coffee in the first place, right? So what I just did right there is I started with one word and then improvised off of that. I used word association to continue that sentence, and this is what you got to do. You got to build up that momentum, and over time you'll get this momentum and words will just start flowing out of your mouth carelessly, and you don't even know where these words are coming from in the first place. The third one is going to be association. So I've already mentioned association, but getting really good at this. Now, I like to freestyle rap, and that's something that really helps with this. So if you're looking to practice, you could try some freestyle rapping, or you could try something known as the blank wall technique. So in general, a good principle when you're practicing any new skill is you want to practice not under pressure. So you don't want to go into like a social environment and do some of these techniques because they're going to come off as extremely wacky and ridiculous. And sometimes like your ego and emotions can't handle the negative feedback that you're going to get when you're practicing. So instead, you do it under low stimulus environments, such as in your room. Maybe you look at a wall for 2 minutes, you set a timer, and basically you got to talk to this wall as if it were a friend. The good thing about this is it's extra hard because there's no feedback that you're getting. And there's also no objects that you can look around at and ping off of. So it forces your brain to become extremely creative on coming up with things. So let's just do this real quick. I'm looking at my wall right now and it's got these like drips. The painting on the wall is like almost dripping off of it And I think because this room, it was like newly painted or something when I first moved in. There's a couple holes here too. So the kid who was in this room before, he probably had some posters of like Tom Brady or something like that. He was probably really into football, I'm guessing. I'm not huge into it, but you know, to each his own. So something like that, those words that I was saying were kind of nonsensical. They didn't really follow any sort of pattern. But as you can see, I was associating one word to the next. These holes in the wall, poster of sports, Tom Brady. I'm not really that into sports myself, but to each his own, right? So you want to keep that thread continuing. So right there, what I'm doing is I'm not putting too much of a boundary on what I can say. I'm really just riffing off the dome. The second thing that I'm doing is just continuing to step. So at points when I feel like I have nothing else to say, I'm just continuing. I'm just saying words. I'm vomiting it out. Now, the next thing that you want to keep in mind, another strategy, is overexpression. So with the wall technique right here, what I would do is I would change my tonality. You can do that with your tonality. You can actually pull yourself out of these normal habitual patterns by increasing your tonality, making it louder, making it slower, and changing the pace of how you're talking. And it comes off a little weird when you're practicing this and actually like moving like this. So you can move your body, you can move your voice, and you can change it as much as you need to. And it's gonna be a little weird, right? Like on this video, you're gonna be like, what the heck? But this is why you do this not in a social situation. I'm losing my voice here. Not in a social situation, but you practice it. And in a social situation, you can actually dial it back so you're not as extreme. But practice moving more. A lot of people are dull in their conversation because their entire body is dull. They're just like slowed down. They're very like stone-faced. You want to change your face, like be overly expressive, and this can actually shock your mind into becoming more creative in the first place. And then lastly is just practicing it often. So like make time outside to actually practice this, and it's useful not only for conversation and making new friends and sales and marketing and business and all this, but it's really good for any aspect of life, because if you think of it, like taking another step is like stepping into the unknown. You're basically taking this leap where you look at a word, right? I got a mic right there, and then you put no controls over what's going to happen next because you don't know. In life, you really don't know. You're just stepping into the abyss, and then what happens next happens, right? So it builds your ability to become adaptable, and that's going to be like the number one skill to success in really any area of life. It's not how smart you are, how strong you are, how good looking you are, how social you are. It's how adaptable you are to any situation and anything that life throws you. So hopefully those tips that I give you, I don't know if it's 3 or 4. Let's see, I have actually some notes down here. I want to make sure I get you guys everything. So just in order, we got lower the bar to success. We got build momentum by taking one step after another. We got overexpression, so a lot of movement with your physical body and your tonality, as well as, let's see here, association, so word association, and get used to just looking at objects around your room and then coming up with conversations after saying that word, like mic, computer, desk, coffee, closet, coming out of the closet, right? That's a random association right there. And then practice. Last one is obviously practice, but more specifically practice in low pressure situations. So practice literally in your room. It's gonna come off as crazy, but the more you do that, after a while, you're gonna get really good at just improvising, just like I did this entire video, besides taking a couple random notes here. But beyond that, you're gonna get really good. And hopefully this helps. Let me know in the comments below, guys. Let me know if you like this really off-the-cuff kind of style of video rather than something that's scripted. I know personally, when I listen to all this improv type of videos, I get way more into it than when someone you know is scripting the entire thing. I love that imperfect, see, look at that. I love the imperfect style of improv. And don't be afraid to fail. Like, lower your bar to success. Allow yourself to fail. People trust people who fail. So, like this video if you enjoyed it. Put any comments for any strategies that you've come up with personally in the comment section below. And then make sure to hit subscribe. Let me know that you like this content. And until next time, guys, cheers.